guys to show up. We're going to be talking today all about emotional eating. Hello, everybody. Bonnie here for Intuitive Eating Wednesdays. Just letting Instagram know as well. See, we've got Instagram going on here. So come on over to Bonnie.tube Instagram followers and watch me live because today we're going to be talking about emotional eating and Q&A. Okay, so I've got YouTube and my Facebook group. Everybody's showing up now. So go ahead and head on over Bonnie.tube. If you missed this live, give me 1 second, guys. If you missed this live, then you can just go to Bonnie.tube and you can watch the replay. All right. See you later. How are you, everybody? All right. We are here talking about emotional eating. Let me just wait for some people to show up. Let me post this to Instagram while we're waiting for people to come. So today is the day before Thanksgiving. If you're here, come say hello. So what I decided to do, if you've been following me on my Intuitive Eating Wednesdays, it's really challenging for me to go live on Instagram as I go live on YouTube and in our Facebook group at the same time because I use a StreamYard, which is a streaming software, and it doesn't allow me to stream to Instagram. So I just wanted to let my Instagram followers know to join us either in the Facebook group or on YouTube so they can actually get the questions that they have. Also, all about emotional eating. So who's here with me? Come say hello. I'm just gonna wait to see who's here. I want you guys to participate with me because I got a lot of great questions. So originally I wasn't going to do a live today, day before Thanksgiving, just trying to wrap up some work before I'm off for 2 days. But I just decided that a lot of people had asked me some questions, had some challenges, and why not do a Q&A? So I'm just going to give another 2 minutes for people to come in. Let me just notify people that we're live. So just bear with me, but definitely post who you are. Come say hello so I know who's here with me. And if you have any emotional eating questions, or by the way, any questions around intuitive eating or the holidays or whatever, please come and post them in the chat so I could all right, let's see. Let me just write emotional eating Q Q and A. I can't type so fast these days. All right. So let's tackle some questions. Let's tackle some questions. Can you say hi to me if you haven't given StreamYard permission to use your name? Go ahead and um, click that button, that link that allows you to say, tell me who your name is. All right. So lots of questions came in, lots of challenges this time of year with emotional eating. So I'm interested to know if you have the same challenges or not. It's a difficult time of year. Yes, if you're struggling with food, but also if there's just family dynamic issues or maybe just the stress and the overwhelm um, of of just preparing everything and getting everything done, whether it's preparing for the Thanksgiving dinner or it's shopping for holiday gifts. Either way, it could become stressful, it could become overwhelming. And unfortunately, a lot of times people tell me that they turn to food. So that's the deal. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Emotional eating. Is this quote unquote a bad thing? What is emotional eating even? It's really interesting because that was a question that came in. Somebody had actually, submitted a question to me and said, Bonnie, what is emotional eating? Because I'm not really sure if I'm doing it or not. And so I want to first start with that question. Okay. So, what is emotional eating? So, emotional eating is eating for reasons other than hunger, right? So, physical hunger, biological hunger, such as using food to cope, to numb, or to deal with a difficult emotion that you're experiencing, a difficult thought that you're having, or maybe even a feeling that you're having, right? And so it's generally when we turn to food from these states, it's actually born out of an unmet need that you have. Now that could be a physical need such as fatigue, or it could be an emotional need, as we were talking about, a difficult feeling that you're having, an emotion, sadness, loneliness, and such. So, have you experienced that? So, that's on, the simplified terms what emotional eating is. So if you stop and you kind of go further and think about that, for so many people, food is love, food is comfort, food could be a reward, food is a reliable friend that's not going to let you down, right? Because unfortunately, sometimes friends do let you down. Emotional eating is not a component of biological hunger, but instead of emotional hunger. So what happens is you're longing for something, right? You have this void in your life, and maybe you're not even sure what the void is. Maybe you do know what the void is. Maybe you don't know what the void is. Either way, you're filling it with food. Or perhaps you have a situation that you're dealing with, but you don't really want to confront it, right? And so you distract with food, you escape with food. Perhaps you numb out with food if you're dealing with something that is really extremely difficult. So instead of feeling those difficult feelings, that what? Instead, you want to zone out. You want to just use food to sedate yourself. So this is, in essence, what emotional eating is. Now, when I teach in my Total Food Freedom program all about emotional eating, I teach that there are 5 different emotional eating archetypes. And it's really very important to help you identify which archetype you resonate with. And there might be more than one. Sometimes the archetypes overlap, right? You might fall into one or more categories. And this is important. Why? Because it gives you information on, okay, what type of emotional eating am I? What are my specific triggers? And then you know specifically, how do I create customized strategies to manage these emotions with kindness, self-compassion, and without necessarily turning to food, right? So does that make sense? So again, 5 different emotional eating archetypes and many, 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 many types of emotional eating triggers. Understanding what those emotional eating archetypes are, really identifying them, what self-identifying, and then pinpointing what your emotional eating triggers are is extremely important if you want to end the destructive nature of emotional eating. I say destructive because how do you feel after you emotionally eat? Let me know in the comments. If you're listening on replay, please go ahead and comment. I teach all of this in the Total Food Freedom program, which right now is on a Black Friday special where you can save $150. So I have it streaming across the bottom of this video. Head on over to totalfoodfreedom.com/special. And you'll learn all about what I'm talking about here in terms of the emotional eating archetypes and the triggers and why it's so very important to understand and to pinpoint and to identify what type of emotional eater you are or types, and what your particular triggers are, so that you can then move into the next step, which is creating strategies. Now, strategies really must be customized to your particular triggers. So, for example, if you recognize that you have there's a physical need that's not met, and then that's what you're finding, you're turning to food. For example, you're extremely tired, you're fatigued, you're exhausted, and you seem to turn to food, maybe you think it's going to pick you up or you're just not paying attention. Well, a strategy for that is not going to, I'm going to go out for a walk or I'm going to go run on the treadmill, because that would make sense, right? That's a very simplified version of what I want you to understand on how strategies must be customized to the particular trigger that you have. Okay, so head on over to totalfoodfreedom.com/special so you can read more about these steps that will help you with the emotional eating. So that first question that came in is, okay, so what is emotional eating? Because again, there's particular person who submitted the question really wasn't even sure that she was eating emotionally. So let's move into the next question. So the next question that came in was, well, are there times when emotional eating isn't all that bad? So, I don't like to use good and bad terminology, but that was the way the question came in. And the answer is yes. I think this is a very, very important point that I would like to make. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well. I do not demonize emotional eating. Okay. And I'll explain more about that. But we are human beings. We have emotions. And eating and food is emotional. And there's an emotional connection. It starts from the time you were born, right? When you were placed on your mom's breast. And then if you think about it through the years, you had birthday parties, you had ice cream treats when you went to Little League games, you had the job promotion where you went out for a dinner celebration, right? In some cases, emotional eating can be effective in the moment and is not always harmful. So I want you to think about that for just a minute. An example would be if a person who generally has great insight into their emotions and most often uses positive coping mechanisms, and on an occasion, they make the conscious decision to eat the ice cream to feel better or to soothe. This is them being human, right? They made a decision with full awareness to have the ice cream. I'm feeling sad. I feel like I really want to have some ice cream right now. It really will feel good. They take the ice cream out of the freezer. They put some into a bowl. They put the container back in the freezer. They sit down at the table and they mindfully eat the ice cream, really savoring and enjoying every bite and staying fully present. They finish it, put the bowl in the sink, and then move on. This is not harmful emotional eating. The problem arises when food is the only tool that you use to cope with uncomfortable emotions, pain, or discomfort. And it's your number one go to. It's the thing that pops into your mind, the very first thing, right? The very first thing that comes to mind when you're sad, you're lonely, you're upset, you're frustrated. And that's when emotional eating can become a destructive coping mechanism. So let's take a moment to ask yourself, when you turn to food due to emotions, is this something that is your first thought? I'm sad. Where's the chocolate? I'm frustrated. Where are the chips? Think about that and let me know in the comments. Okay. So that's what I mean when I say I do not demonize emotional eating. I think that food can be one of your strategies in a toolbox of strategies to help you learn how to manage those emotions. So even though my program, Total Food Freedom, is about ending emotional eating so you can enjoy a new relationship with food, it doesn't mean that you're never going to make the conscious, mindful decision to eat the ice cream to soothe in that moment. Let me know if you have any questions on this. Okay, so then I got another question. What is one strategy that I can use to help with my emotional eating? So there are many, many strategies that I teach within the Total Food Freedom program, but let me mention one particularly here that I have found to be very helpful for myself as well as my clients, and that is journaling. So do you journal? Let me know in the comments. Do you journal? Journaling is, so what is journaling, right? So journaling is verbalizing your feelings by writing them down. And it's very beneficial for your emotional well-being and to discover things that may have been buried for many years, right? So it can absolutely help with emotional eating in a few ways. So I'm curious if you journal. If you find yourself emotional or having an uncomfortable feeling, do you pick up a journal? Well, let's talk about the benefits of journaling. Well, journaling, number one, allows you to express and release your feelings. So writing down what your strong emotions are will help to release the intensity of those feelings. If you've never tried it, you should try it. You'll see it's amazing. Because when you try to avoid strong emotions such as sadness and anger and hurt, you try to push them away, you're pushing them down with food, they continue to come back and continues to trigger the emotional eating. But by you verbally expressing your feelings in writing, just for yourself, right? Not only do you become aware of what you're feeling, because many times you don't even know. Many times you find that you're turning to food when you're feeling emotional, but you can't even pinpoint what you're feeling. And so the journaling helps you to just start writing, even if you don't know what's going to show up on the page. And then it helps you to release those emotions by acknowledging that they're there. Let me know your thoughts on that. Because when your feelings are validated, they don't feel so intense and ultimately will be released. So to me, that is one of the major benefits of journaling. So again, if you're just joining me, we are talking about emotional eating. We are talking about what I'm talking about is what is one particular strategy you might use to help you manage those emotions with kindness and self-compassion and not turning to food destructively. So that would be the journaling. Now, the journaling also does something different, something else, I should say. It helps you to slow down and pause, not impulsively react. This pause makes all the difference between thought and impulsive eating. And the thought and reflection, if maybe there's another path that you can take in that moment. So if you're an emotional eater, maybe you struggle with anxiety, maybe you struggle with just you're a worrier, right? You're a worry wart. So you have bottled up emotions about maybe, past experiences you haven't fully dealt with, regardless of whether your triggers are past or present or future. The point is, you're not sitting in this moment. You're not sitting in this moment when you're worrying about the past or you're worrying about the future, right? So let's think about it that way. You're anxious, you're a worrier, you're worrying about the past, you're worrying about what's going to be in the future, but then you're not here in the present. So journaling can be a way to really put a pause somewhere in your day to really truly be present in the moment and not impulsively react, right? So instead of immediately turning to food, instead you pause to consider, what am I really feeling, and put a name to it and write it down. Write it down, which helps you become so much more aware. Now, journaling also helps you to recognize patterns. We generally see patterns in our emotional eating, and they become habitual. So it will help you break the unhealthy emotional eating habits, right? When you break the habit of turning to food automatically to deal with strong emotions, right? And you think to yourself, what might be another habit or behavior that I could replace it with? What is it that I really need right now, right? The answer is generally not food, because food is just masking it. It's usually not food. Maybe it's connection. Maybe it's self-care. Maybe it's support. Maybe you need to be nurtured. And finally, journaling really helps you to improve your self-care. Self-care is giving yourself what it needs for your overall well-being, whether that's physical, whether that's mental, whether that's emotional. So by writing out your feelings, you're giving yourself some personal time to express those feelings, right? You're taking care of your emotions in this particular way, which means you're taking care of you, and you will have an overall better sense of well-being. Okay, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on journaling. So what I've been chatting about is emotional eating, strategies, and one particular strategy that I find particularly beneficial is journaling. Now, there's different ways you can journal, right? You can have a traditional journal, so you're putting pen to paper. You can get a pretty one. You can decorate it. You could post in a Facebook group. If you're not a member of my free private Facebook group, head on over there. intuitiveeatinggroup.com will take you straight to my Facebook group. Answer a couple questions. You can come in and you can use that group to journal, to share your thoughts and your feelings. I also help my clients in the Total Food Freedom Program. We have a particular eating and emotions journal or log that we use to help identify. There's many different ways that you can journal. I had a client that shared with me. Let me share this story because this story was so very touching to me. And if you have any stories like this, I would love it if you shared in the comments. One particular client shared with me that she started journaling to her mom, who she had lost her mom at a very young age. I believe she was about 10 years old. And her mom missed really every major milestone in her life. And, as an adult, she realized how this played into a lot of emotions that she had today. And really probably related to her emotional eating. And so during our work together, one of my suggestions to her was to start journaling. She was thinking about it, but she had never done it. And then she decided to journal every night, and she decided to write to her mom and share. And she said it's been great. Yes, she would shed a lot of tears as she did it, but she was sharing with her mom, who was no longer here, through her journaling. And this helped her to heal her emotional eating. So powerful, so powerful. There was another client who used journaling as she worked through her intuitive eating journey, which is something that I encourage my clients to do. And it led her to insights that really helped her shift her perspective on so many things, right? Okay. So, what about you? What about you? Do you find that you're using food to soothe emotions? Do you find that food is one of the first things you go to, one of the first things that you think of when you're feeling stressed, anxious, sad, tired, lonely? Again, emotional eating is destructive when it's your number one thing, go to food. I'm having an emotion, I automatically go to food. And you numb out, you zone out, you sedate. Perhaps you even punish yourself with food. In that case, we want to get help. We want to get the assistance to help end the destructive patterns of emotional eating. So, if you're interested, I have some journaling prompts, emotional eating journaling prompts, that I'm happy to share the link so you can get that. You just have to comment below this video or send me a private message that you would like the link to the emotional eating journaling prompts. That is a free gift that I have for you. So let me know if you'd like that. And also, don't forget to check out the Total Food Freedom Program, which is right now on a Black Friday special. You could save $150. I've never sold this program at this low price point ever. And there's several bonuses in this program, one of which is 2 months free in my Intuitive Nutrition Circle membership program in the community forum, so that you can get the support from myself and other women as you're working through the Total Food Freedom Program. So, 3 steps to ending emotional eating that you'll learn in Total Food Freedom. Step 1 is identify your emotional eating archetype or types and your specific triggers. Step 2, create customized strategy for each of those triggers and learn how to feel the feelings. And step 3, which I haven't yet mentioned yet, is use food as your ally. So here's something that I want you to think about. When you've tried to end emotional eating and really overcome that destructive emotional eating pattern, generally what you've done is run away from food. You said, I have to control, you've restricted, and they've all backfired. I teach you why in the Total Food Freedom Program. But I also teach you that food is not your enemy and food is your ally. Because when you provide your body with the proper nutrition and you provide your body with the nutrients it needs, food can actually help you manage your moods, your cravings, your blood sugars, and ultimately help you to end emotional eating. This is all what you learn in the Total Food Freedom Program. I highly encourage you to treat yourself this holiday season. Check out the Total Food Freedom Program and save $150 while you're there. So if you've really been struggling and you've wanted a chance at this program, which I've never offered at this price point before, this is the special for you. This Black Friday special ends this Friday, November 26th at 6 p.m. So keep in mind, if you're watching this video and it's past the Black Friday special, you can still grab the program. It's still available, but unfortunately, you'll miss the save $150. But I would totally have you check that out at totalfoodfreedom.com. So totalfoodfreedom.com/special if you want to save $150 before Black Friday ends. All right. So let me know your thoughts on emotional eating. Let me know your thoughts on journaling. Please post a comment, hashtag replay and your comment, and I will be back to answer. All right, that's it for this. If you have any other emotional eating questions, pop them below the video and I will be sure to answer. Take care for now.